How we doing, everybody? Welcome to episode 25 of Punch the Air. Today, I'm hosting. We got Hollywood out at work. We got the Buzzsaw in his office here, and we got Big E.
What's up? What's up?
How we doing?
Good. We're not just another
Doing,
day
baby.
on Punch the Air.
We doing.
Just another day punching the air. But yeah, guys, another day. Our last pod of NBA before we head into NFL heavy. But yeah, we're just gonna kind of hop right into the NBA here. So as far as first topic here, we're gonna go over the free agency recap so far as what's happened. The landscape of the NBA so far. I mean, as a general consensus, most people had the Lakers as winners, Suns as winners, and then if you want to go over losers, you got the Bulls, the Wizards, whoever. But as far as, these teams go, let's start with the LA Lakers. How are y'all feeling about their offseason so far and their free agent moves?
Lakers did awesome. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They acted like a competent, smart, shrewd front office. The whole goal was to go in and keep the core because everyone was like, oh, like I've seen people today be like, oh, they didn't like get incrementally, they didn't get like substantially better. It's like the whole point was to keep this core because they played like 30 games together. Like they're going to get better just having the same players there just because they'll have better chemistry. On top of that, you add Gabe Vincent on an awesome deal. You keep Reeves on an awesome deal. You bring in Deshaun Prince, a great 3-and-D, long stretch 3-4. You get Cam Reddish, and you bring in Jackson Hayes to back up Anthony Davis. And a sneaky thing they also did by not going and getting a big center, it's going to keep AD at the 5, which he's said he doesn't like playing the 5, but he's fucking dominant at the 5. Like that's his best position, even though he likes playing the 4 more. By doing that, they're basically saying you're going to be our starting center, and you're going to be playing 35 minutes a game at center, which is where they need him because then you can put Braun at 4, and then you can go Rui, Reeves, Gabe Vincent, D'Lo, whatever. But they filled out the roster. They're 10 deep. They brought everyone back. They're locked and loaded. It's up to AD and LeBron's health now.
Yeah, I loved what they absolutely did. I mean, the fact they could retain everyone, the fact they could bring even like I know D'Lo didn't play really great in the Western Conference Finals against the Nuggets, but he has those moments where he can play like a borderline all-star. And most people thought that they weren't going to bring him back. And the fact they brought him back just as a cherry on top, I mean, I love it. And yeah, like you said, the depth. I mean, they got Cam Reddish 2 years for $5 million, Taurean Prince 1 year for 4.5. I mean, and those are two guys too. Most people assume are going to get more money, but I mean, it's the fact that they're going to play with LeBron and be in LA. They get
They
that.
didn't overpay for anyone either.
But the fact they got Austin Reeves for 4 years, 56 million, I think that might be the steal of the whole free agent class. I mean,
surprised. Yeah, I was surprised by that too, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I would think, I mean, they made it clear that any team that goes and offers him 20 mil, 25 and whatever, they were going to match it. So I guess that probably scares some teams off to match it. But dude,
call their bluff.
Same here.
Austin Reeves 4 for 56. I mean, this is a guy that's going to average, I think this year 16, 17 points. He could be that secondary playmaker next to LeBron. He's an experienced player. I think they got him because, he's not one of these guys that, went off a rookie deal that has a lot of upside considering he's one of the older kind of, younger players in the league. But Austin Reeves now is, if we're just going off of average salary per year, he's the 26th highest paid shooting guard in the league. And I mean, considering he was restricted, but I mean,
that's also a super deep position in the league because there's so many people who are like combo guards in the league. So you could throw in so many people just into that shooting guard combo area. So that's a good price for him, I would say.
I think he should have gotten 20 mil. I mean, I think it's absolutely brilliant they got him for 14 annually. I mean, Max Strus got 15.7. Give me Austin Reeves over Max Strus all day long.
Any day, any fucking day.
Bruce Brown got 22.5. I know it's only a 2-year deal with a team option for the second year. So that I think that deal looks a lot better when you look into the details versus just on paper. Yeah, but I mean, dude, after the playoffs he had, the fact you can get him as the 26th highest paid shooting guard in the league, I think that's absolutely brilliant. I mean, Karis LeVert got 16 mil in the open market this year. Give me Austin Reeves over at Karis LeVert all day long. That might be my favorite signing of the whole offseason right there, honestly.
What I really liked about what they did with the Lakers is something with their team that I thought they kind of was lacking is, Austin Reeves is a young player, but he wasn't really, like a high upside draft pick or anything like that. Some of these guys they drafted do have a lot of upside, and they actually have the chance to find a role. And sometimes with these guys, they just need a chance and need to untap that potential, like Cam Reddish or Jackson Hayes a little bit too. You get those guys some better minutes. Jackson Hayes, where he has basically two ball players in terms of Austin Reeves and LeBron dishing it out, because now with Reeves there for 4 years, I mean, that's going to take a little bit of on ball, handling the rock every single time for LeBron off, but it's going to also create more matchups and lob opportunities for AD, Jackson Hayes, who's a crazy athlete. So still a lot of young potential, and that's good stuff there. And especially you get those guys on 2-year deals. Like, yeah, they may overplay that contract, but at the same time, if they do overplay that contract with their upside, it's immense. So if you get another 9 points out of Cam Reddish again, I don't even think that's bad. But I honestly think Cam's going to be a nice little double-digit scorer off the bench, hit a couple threes. And I think Jackson Hayes is just going to be another big lob threat guy coming off the bench. And that may help AD because it's a little, counteractive of how they play as a team. You got KD, who's like a bruiser. Obviously, he's athletic too, but, not really what I would say is just like a pure, like just crazy athlete anymore. So then once you bring Jackson Hayes in, that's going to speed up the game because that guy's just lanky, tall, skinny, runs the floor and is looking for alley-oops and the block shot. So I really like what they did, because if they get anything better than what these guys were doing with their upside, it's going to look really well. And then, like y'all said, Gabe Vincent, he already knows he was a role player, and he's one of those role players who's shown in a big moment that he can step up. And them getting him on a 3-year deal, who I'm sure a lot of teams wanted him, that's a winning player, which is the type of guys they need to go with these young guys. So I think they did a really good job with everything overall in terms of keeping the core steady, adding on to that core, and keeping Reeves, which is going to, in the future, they're going to take pressure off LeBron dribbling the ball every time up and down the court, hopefully. And I think you're going to see Austin Reeves average close to 7 assists a game next year. I really think he's going to be a big-time assist guy for that team, mainly because of what they're going to be able to do now with having faith in him with the money they just gave him.
For sure. And the fact too, like they get Reddish and Hayes on pretty much just flyers. Like that's absolutely just no risk, just only reward involved potentially.
Only rewards.
Because if Reddish and Hayes gets playoff time and they don't even play, it doesn't matter. They're paying them
doesn't matter.
$4 million or not even $2.5 million a year. So I mean, it's strictly only upside for them. They come playoff time. I mean, Jared Vanderbilt now is, I don't even know he's going to be starting anymore. And the fact you would have an ace defensively like him off the bench, like, I mean, Gabe Vincent,
I think you'll see
Reddish,
him in like a matchup depending on who they're playing. I think you'll see him kind of thrown in there to start and guard someone. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because I mean, also with Rui coming back, I was kind of liking what Rui was doing at the end of the playoff run for the Lakers. He was looking like a really good. He was looking like a really athletic, good little mid-range shooter, could hit a couple threes now and then, but he was looking like a good player, an offensive threat that, you could start him, you could not start him, but if there's any issues with D'Lo, I think they have something in Rui also there off the bench too. So I like what they did. So I'd say it's an A+ for them so far.
Yeah. And Rui was one of those guys too that
they also, if you look at their roster from a year ago, that was one of the oldest teams.
Exactly.
They have revamped that in a calendar year. Their oldest 2 players are LeBron and Anthony Davis. Like, everyone down is like 27 and down. That is an amazing job to cut all those bad contracts, flip them for young players who are all great in their own role. And the second thing, all of those contracts are tradable. And they're so damn deep that there's going to be a player or two that falls out of the loop. There's going to be like 1 or 2 guys that just they can't find their role because there's so many people that there's not that many roles available. You have 8 real starting to bench level spots when you get into the playoffs or crunch time moments. You have an 8-man rotation at the end. You're going to have tradable contracts to move at the deadline, especially with D'Angelo Russell. That is
exactly
$18 million a season. It's
for 2 years.
It's a team option that second year. So you're trading him, which is a perfect number, around a $20 million to swap salaries, and it's an expiring contract. That's a perfect contract to move if you need to. Only thing, with Rui, they overpaid a smidge for Rui. That was a lot of money. But again, a very tradable contract. I don't know really who they were bidding against, but I mean, it wasn't like egregious. It's like 17 last season, but that's another great tradable contract to move if you want to go out and go get like another like B+ A- level player, like almost point or all-star level guy. You have assets to do that now.
Yeah,
So
and I think
they did almost everything perfectly this offseason and what exactly they said that they were going to do. So
yeah, I think they hit the nail on the coffin with this one, because I think part of the Rui signing was that I think you are going to see him kind of take a step up on this team, and he may end up looking like that money. And he was, to my knowledge, from what I remember, he was a top 10 pick. So, you know, the kid's got upside. So
he was big for them
guy.
in the playoffs too.
Exactly.
He's a career like 32% 3-point player. There was no one coming for him at the deadline. He played amazing at his time with the Lakers.
Yeah, he's shown some promise.
There's going to be regression. I mean, he's not going to shoot 50% from three again. He was a bad shooter before he came to LA. Obviously, the LeBron factor helps, but he's a great defender. He's another big body, and that's the thing. They're long and great at defense at every position on the floor now. So their defense is only going to get better. And if someone falls out of the rotation, they can easily move them and replace it with something better. So
and that just helps them so much come playoff time. I mean, the fact that they probably have arguably now the best assets of just long wing athletic defenders in the league. And come playoff time, you just let LeBron play, make, and score. You could have Hachimura, you could have Vanderbilt, Reddish. You're our defenders, and just let LeBron rest up for the playoffs and do what he does best. Especially the thing too is LeBron, I think, was playing hurt these past playoffs. Like you could come into next season with these guys too. You could load management him even more now
Exactly.
too. You know, if you need to start Hachimura or Reddish, you can. There's no problem with that.
You can even load manage AD now with your size because, I mean, even if you're running Jackson Hayes at center, you still have Rui, Vanderbilt, Prince. All of them are 6'8", 6'9". You can run them forwards and you're fine. You're going to be bigger than most of your teams anyway. So
exactly,
they're in an amazing spot. They did a great job.
Yeah, and as far as the Suns go, I mean, I think the Suns, for what they had available to them, I think they did a lot better than most of us anticipated. They lost Jock Landell. I think he got maybe overpaid a little bit for 32 to Houston, but I mean, Houston's obviously just throwing out money because they have to fill up that cap somehow. Yeah, Houston had the cap. But I mean, the fact they can get Eric Gordon on, I think he got 2 years, $6 million. I mean, that's a veteran guy that could come in. He could spot start. He could be their $6 million off the bench. He shot 42% three in 22 games with LA last year. I don't know how to say his name. Yuta Watanabe.
Pretty close. I think it's Utah, but close.
That dude, I mean, he's great on defense. He shot 44% from three last year. His role going to come in, just play defense, hit open threes, and that's all they're going to have from him. Keita Bates-Diop, another guy, 39% from three last year, was a great defender for San Antonio, and that's what this team needed. They needed just 3-and-D guys. They got three guys right there with Gordon, Watanabe, and Bates-Diop. And I mean, they brought back Okogie. They brought back Damian Lee. Damian Lee, not the best guy, but I mean, you know, for this Suns team, like you said, you get 8 players in the playoffs, and now it looks like they probably have that with Book, Beal, KD, 8, and Okogie, and then Campaign, Gordon, Watanabe, Bates-Diop off the bench, however you want to split that. But I mean, this Suns team, the way they played it out, they're looking kind of fucking scary right now.
They did the best they could with the cards they were dealt. I mean, I think the Eric Gordon signing moved the needle from they did decent to below average to they did great. Because I mean, getting Eric Gordon for the minimum when he's either going to start for them or be like one of the best 6 men in the league was amazing. I think. I wouldn't have been mad if the Mavs gave Eric Gordon our mid-level exception, $12 million. Like he's a 17 to 18 point a game scorer and he's efficient. Like that's that pickup alone, I mean, like reshaped their whole free agency stigma. Like they did like that by itself was amazing, and they retained and kept good defensive pieces around the stars. So
I mean, Bates-Diop, 2 years for $5 million. I mean, he averaged 10 points for San Antonio last year, and he's another one of those long-range defenders that could guard 2 through 4. I mean, I think those two are going to be huge for them come down the stretch. And like you said, with their assets, they absolutely killed it. Now it's just once we see the regular season, which of these guys are going to step up and emerge and kind of filter out the others.
Well,
but I mean,
I mean, like all the free agent stuff's great, and I mean, it's going to come down to health. I mean, if all three of the stars have to be healthy for the playoffs, even if one of them is missing, I don't think they can take out LA or Denver.
Now, do y'all think they're going to end up keeping DeAndre Ayton, or do we still think there's a trade looming?
I think there's a trade looming, and I think that's why one of their other additions was Drew Eubanks from the Spurs. He's not. I don't really think he's honestly starting caliber center. I know he did start some games for the Spurs though, but I think he's just going to be a serviceable player that is going to just be a big man that is just going to be your typical center down there. Because
I think the Blazers, by the way.
My bad, Blazers. But with that being said, he is a decent player and decent role player, big man. And I think that may be ultimately what they're going to need Ayton to do. And if Ayton isn't into that at all and doesn't want to be a part of that, I think that he is going to get shipped off for someone that is a better role player, big man in the league. I don't think it'll be a star caliber, and it's definitely not going to be the type of, player you're going to get back with the number one pick you invested in Ayton. But, I definitely think they're going to probably end up going elsewhere because with the way his attitude's always been of late, and maybe the new coaching staff figures that out, but with how he's been, I think that just makes it worse because everyone seemed to like Monty. They just had to go the other direction because of results. But, with all that being said, I definitely see Ayton on the ups and out in a very short time if he doesn't buy in.
Yeah, I think with Ayton, it's all just if he can accept the role. Like with those three stars there, it's like you're not gonna get much offense from him. You can just accept your role as a post guy, a perimeter defender. And we saw, a few years ago, he was a great not perimeter, but interior defender. If he could just accept that, but he's also
a great interior defender.
He played good a few playoffs ago inside.
DeAndre Ayton's never been known as an interior presence or anything like that.
But he held his ground a few years ago in the playoffs.
Yeah. The thing with Ayton, like what they did in free agency, they're backed into a corner with Ayton now because trading him for a wing doesn't help them. So they're stuck with Ayton at center, or they have to move him for a big man. That's really their only option at this point. And the thing with Ayton is he, throughout his entire career so far, if he doesn't get the ball, he pouts. And he doesn't try on defense. So they're going to have to keep him involved offensively for him to play, because they don't need him for offense, but they're going to have to let him offensively work and let him go to work down low. Because if they don't, he's not going to do what they need defensively and on the glass.
Right.
I do have one trade, and I'm completely stealing this from Bill Simmons, but it's who says no? It's Ayton for Miles Turner and TJ McCollum from the Pacers. Who says no?
Wait,
I think the Pacers like Miles Turner a lot more after this past season.
They put an offer down on Ayton for 4 years, $150 last offseason. Suns matched it. They wanted him last offseason. They've been trying to trade Turner forever.
Yeah, but for the Suns' sake, if you're trading Ayton, yes, Turner's can stretch the floor for you, which Ayton's not really a great three-point shooter, but you're still not getting much post defense whatsoever.
What? With Miles Turner?
Miles
Turner can clean up shots. He can get some blocks, but he's
not one of the best defensive centers in the league.
No, he's not. Miles
interior 2.5 blocks a game last
year. He's a Porzingis. He's like a Porzingis. He's going to get blocks and clean up, but he's not holding down the paint.
Miles Turner is much better at defense, especially interiorly, than DeAndre Ayton.
He may be.
Miles Turner isn't known though as like a lockdown interior presence. Miles Turner he could get some splash plays with blocks and he could stretch
a lot of shots. Yeah,
dude,
Miles Turner is not known as like a defensive hog that will be down there cleaning up people's things.
He's like a 3D center.
No, he's not.
Dude, he 100% is. That's his MO. He's a 3-and-D center.
Yeah, that's his thing.
Whole game.
Like you're right. Like he's not fast. He is slow, and yes, maybe on the perimeter he'll get cooked because he's not athletic. But if you go in the paint on him, No,
Dude, he's
not
a
easy.
monster in the paint.
Yeah,
No,
it's not easy.
he's not known as like a paint guy, like a Allen or a Mobley like that. He's gonna clean up plays with blocks and splash plays.
Dude, he was a
But
defensive player of the year candidate like a year ago.
Yeah,
when was he a defensive player of the year candidate?
Like a year ago. I'm pretty sure he was last year.
I feel like 2 years ago he was leading the league in total shot blocks.
Yeah, no, he led the league 1 year in blocks.
Yeah, he led the league in 2021. And that's what I'm saying. Like he's a KP, he's gonna get blocks, but he's not known as a guy that's gonna hold down your defense.
I mean, in the right, I think he definitely could in the right situation with the Suns would probably love.
I disagree.
Miles
I disagree. I think he's a good defender, but I don't think he's like a defensive hog that you let just hold down the paint like a Gobert or a Allen or a Mobley. I don't think he's that at all.
I think he's better defense than Jared Allen.
Jared Allen's a better defender than Miles Turner.
No, he's not.
Jared Allen had the best defensive rating by a center last year.
He's not even the best defensive center on his
team.
and
Mobley were well. Mobley's more. He's more versatile. He could guard outside better than Jared Allen.
But Mobley's the better defender.
But yeah, overall. But I'm saying it's just strictly like the paint's yours. Miles Turner is not just like the paint's yours. Like if there's a bully ball coming in, like you're.
Dude, Miles Turner is about as close as you can get. Like
no, he's not. Dude. No, he's not. I disagree.
Yeah, he's like a.
I disagree.
Wait, why?
Miles Turner wasn't even top 15 in defensive rate. I agree. He could get blocks to make the splash plays and clean up. Yeah. But he's not a guy that you're just gonna stick down low and that's gonna wreak havoc. Like he'll get blocks. He makes the big sexy plays, but I don't think he's gonna be the defensive hog down low.
Well, I don't know how you get blocks and don't wreak havoc. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
I completely disagree, but okay.
Well, we agree to disagree. But, I mean, Miles Turner wasn't even a top 15 in defensive rating last year among centers.
Okay,
Jared Allen was number one.
List the top 15 in defensive rating.
Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Nicholas Claxton, Joel Embiid, Brooke Lopez, Rudy Gobert,
Claxton.
Jokic, Bam Adebayo, Ayton, Zubac, Plumlee, and Seguin. That's the top 12.
Okay, Alpi Seguin is not a premier.
And I'm not saying that stat is like everything, because obviously those defensive stats are never fully accurate at all. I mean, they have Luka.
Seguin didn't.
But my point is, he's not a guy. He's not an Allen or a Mobley. You could say like an Allen or a Mobley with the Mavs. Like the paint's yours. Like you can clean up.
Dude, it wasn't for fucking Julius Randle. Julius Randle bullied fucking both of them.
Well, every center gets bullied every now and then. When I look at a defensive hog in the paint, I look at like Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert.
That's what Turner is, but he like shoots.
No, he's not.
Turner doesn't get bullied down low. What are you talking about?
But he does. But he doesn't. He's not like that dominating presence like a Gobert or Allen or an Embiid. He's quick. He's quicker than these guys, so where he could help out on the perimeter a little bit more. But he's not. I disagree. But
he's just slow and athletic. That's why his rating is low. But if you just,
Miles isn't slow for a center compared to these other guys.
That's like Turner's a big dude.
He's not slow for a center.
He's not
dude,
very.
He's probably like 260. Yeah. He's a big fucking dude.
He's never been like an athlete. That's never been his thing.
Yeah, but I disagree with y'all on that. But teach their own. But beyond the Suns, another team here that was notable, the Mavs. We got to talk about the Mavs. I mean, I absolutely love the Seth Curry signing. The fact you can get Seth Curry for 2 years, $9 million. Last time he played with Luka, he shot 44% from three. I think Steph Curry, I mean, he could shoot damn near 50% from three when he gets brought in here, and that makes Tim Hardaway expendable now. But for the Mavs' sake, with Seth Curry in there now, he will be in the Tim role. You have to trade Tim Hardaway. And they tried the Capella thing. If you could somehow get a Capella, maybe a Jonas Valanciunas to come in there to swap him out for. And then beyond that, they still have the full MLE, which you're hoping you can get a Grant Williams or a PJ Washington. But I'm a believer. I'll die on this hill. If the Mavs can facilitate two moves like that, swapping a Hardaway for a Clint Capella type, and then signing a PJ Washington or Grant Williams, who are both restricted free agents, so we won't know till Thursday what the deal is on these restricted guys. I think that makes the Mavs a legitimate contender.
Currently constructed, the Mavs will have the exact same starting lineup as we did last offseason. We'll have the exact same starting lineup.
And well, our depth is a lot better, and that's why I said if they could still facilitate 2 more moves, because the Mavs. Okay,
depth wasn't the problem when the 3 starters are combining for 12 points a game.
My thing with the Mavs is everyone's getting mad they haven't done anything. What moves are out there that they could make? All we had was the full MLE of $12.5 million. You see guys like Brooks go for $20 million. You see guys like Bruce Brown go for $22.5 million. There's really no signings that Dallas could have made to this point. So we're still to be determined on if they can go get a restricted guy.
Redis, we could have signed Taurean Prince. We could have gone after Rui. We could have gone after.
We couldn't afford. We couldn't afford Rui. Rui's getting $17 million.
Well, we could have gone after him.
Cam Reddish.
Guys that went to the Lakers on minimum deals. We could have gone after Eric Gordon. There are so many people.
Eric Gordon's not good at defense anymore. Eric Gordon's not any better than Seth Curry at this point for the Mavs.
Yeah, Eric Gordon's better than Seth.
I don't know. I'd rather have Seth Curry on the Mavs than Eric Gordon right now. Eric Gordon does not play any defense anymore. He's 35.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Seth Curry plays defense?
No, Seth Curry does not play any defense. My thing with Seth Curry is
a better player.
They signed Seth Curry to replace Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway's gone now.
Yes.
You can't keep Seth and Tim Hardaway.
I like the Seth Curry signing. But as of now, there is one player, and it's Grant Williams. That's the only player.
PJ Washington.
We haven't been connected to PJ Washington. Maybe we go. Maybe we do.
Well, we don't. I'm just saying it's a potential landing spot. Out of all the
players that we were connected to, Grant Williams is really the only one left, or Matisse Thybulle. We have to get one of them. Or barring trade, which, I mean, it's not like people are fucking crawling over to get Tim Hardaway. Like, we're not going to get shit back for Tim. Like, we don't have tradable assets. Our starting lineup right now will be the exact same as last year. All we have are young depth that we've added that won't play meaningful minutes next season. So we didn't have much to work with. And, I mean, now we're tied to the mast with Kyrie, so it probably doesn't fucking matter anyway. We're going down with the ship. But there wasn't really much to do, but we haven't done a damn thing. Oh, we did get Dante Exum, but
he's fantastic.
He'll fill the Frank Ntilikina role.
I mean,
my thing with like
barrel of Josh Green, Dwight Powell, Reggie Bullock being our 3 other starters.
Well, and the whole point of this, there's still moves to be made for Dallas. Yeah. Dallas is one of these teams. They weren't going to be making moves on the first day or 2 of free agency. This is still.
We were hoping there was.
Well, we were hoping, but there was nothing out there for him to get.
We could have given Taurean Prince $5 million. We could have given.
I mean, you don't know that though.
Taurean more than the minimum.
You don't. These guys. People pick LA over Dallas. These players want to play with LeBron. They want to live in LA.
We could have given.
You wanted to give Cam Reddish the full MLE.
Are we going to give anyone the MLE?
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, but it's still to be determined.
What the fuck are we going to do with it? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know, but that's why I'm saying it's still to be determined. And if they could, I think that the thing I am scared about is they did announce that they do have a plan for a center platoon with Powell, Holmes, and Lively, which I don't like at all. I don't see how you keep Tim Hardaway at this point, though, with signing Seth Curry. So my hope is that they trade Tim Hardaway for a center, a stopgap center, and then they use the full MLE on, like you said, a Thybulle or a Williams or a PJ Washington. I was kind of hoping they'd go get my boy Miles Bridges, but he re-upped with Charlotte. So
Trey Lyles would have been nice for y'all, but
yeah, I agree with you. If they don't make any more moves, they're not a real contender for sure. They still don't have the defense at all.
No.
Yeah, but Kyrie and Luka are going to have to average 38 a game right now.
So
yeah, but and so I had one loser from free agency, and it was the Chicago Bulls. My main thing with the Bulls, I just do not understand the direction of this team whatsoever. They got Vucevic for 3 years, $60 million, Kobe White 3 for $40, and Javon Carter 3 for $20 to replace Pat Bev. I don't mind those contracts. I don't think those are bad deals at all. But with the Bulls, it's just like, what is your direction at this point? Like, this team is, even with these re-signings, they're not a contender by any means. They're much closer to a lottery team than a contender. And it's just like, take a shit or get off the toilet at this point if you're Chicago. Like, Chicago Bull fans, I mean, if I'm a Bulls fan, I would much rather them just tear it down. Like, take a page out of the Thunder's book, take a page out of the Magic's book. You see these teams tear it down and then, suck for a few years to benefit your team later down the line. And for the Bulls, it looks like they're just going to be treading water for the next, few years, and they're just pushing this rebuild farther and farther down the line, which I just don't understand, because with this current core, I think we can all agree they're not a real threat to win anything. Their ceiling is what? A first round exit, probably. Like, there's
like
just
a bubble.
I don't see any real good outlook for the Chicago Bulls right now. And if I'm a Bulls fan, I'd much rather them just let these guys walk, trade DeMar DeRozan, trade Zach LaVine, get all the young assets and picks you can get, and just say we're gonna play for 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line.
Yeah. They need the East to keep being shitty if they want any chance at a decent playoff spot. So, and that's going to be with like a 500 record, maybe under.
Yeah, they're a play-in team. They're a play-in team.
Yeah. In the East too, it's like if you're the 7th seed, you're going up against the Heat with probably Dame or Boston or Milwaukee, so you're fucked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They are also, I mean, like if they were to go full rebuild, you have DeRozan, LaVine, and Vucevic. You could get fucking hauls for at least LaVine and DeRozan. You could probably get decent stuff for Vucevic. You could even, I mean, you throw Lonzo out there and package him in a deal for, with one of those.
I don't know. Can they even trade Lonzo?
I don't know if they can, because
Lonzo's just so unknown. Like, we have no idea.
I mean, he might not even play, but you might as well just, get a second round pick or whatever. But just, I mean, if they were to tear it to the studs, and they do have Patrick Williams, Colby White's still young. Like, they have a couple of young pieces you could just let start and develop. But if they wanted to blow it up, they could acquire so many assets in such a short period of time that they could be just as loaded as a team like Portland after they trade Dame, or a team like the Thunder, or a team like that. Like, they could really flip this franchise on its head in an offseason, but they're choosing not to do it, which doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And I think the Raptors, I think they're one other loser in my eyes. They let Van Vliet walk to y'all in Houston. He's getting way overpaid, but Houston had to spend the money. But they re-signed Jacob Hurtle for $20 million a year, which I don't think is a bad contract. He's a good player. But they're in the same direction. It's like, what are they doing? The end goal is to win a championship. Like, if you're floating water, like the Raptors have better pieces, I think, than the Bulls, but there's still no serious threat by any means. So tear it the fuck down, man.
Yeah.
Play for the future.
I think it's some weird thing, because I think it's something with the Raptors specifically, because I feel like they like to have pride in developing their players all the way through, from either second round picks to G League guys to first round picks, and developing them. I mean, and so with these acquisitions they got, I mean, they're not horrible. It's just that with what they're trying to do, it doesn't make sense. 4 years for Pirtle, I don't really know how he's fitting in long-term there, with what I think is going to be available to them. Once they blow things up, I think that'll end up being a really shitty contract in about 2 years, I think. Schroeder, he is always tradable. Everyone is always trading him or releasing him, that sort of thing. So, I mean, yes, he was decent last year, but honestly, I don't really have much faith in him making much of a difference for him. So I think they're just, in a way, trying to give hope that these young guys they have, like Scotty, Pascal, I know they let Fred VanVleet walk. I think they're just kind of wanting these guys to take a step. And with all that being said, bringing Gary Trent back also, I know, is something that they were thinking of. So it's just kind of weird. And I think they're just thinking that they can just develop these young guys into a very good team. But they don't want to tear down at all and just add like role players.
Pascal?
29 probably at this point.
I'd say
Pascal's he's not a young player.
Yeah, he was never drafted as a young guy.
The silver lining with Toronto is they're such a well-built team that doesn't have a superstar, that it's like if Joel Embiid were to become available and you could insert Joel Embiid, just like they did with Kawhi a few years ago, or maybe even Kawhi or whoever. Like, but they're such a well-built team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Really, they're only just missing a point. They're missing a traditional point guard and a superstar. But it's like, you can find like go get Kyle Lowry back. Like you can get him for cheap. He can still play like a traditional point guard role. Like if a big name superstar were like, I'm actually surprised they're not in the Dame discussions. I would assume they'd be going after Dame because
sneaky Dame trade.
They're a team that if they got a superstar, they're right back in the mix. Like they're right in the mix. And it's just like Cole, you did the Kawhi trade last week and we did it. Like, and that's a nasty team once you add them a superstar. Whereas the Bulls, I don't give a shit if you add Joel Embiid to that team. I have DeMar DeRozan and Levine chucking 50 shots a game. Like, I don't care about it. Those pieces don't fit. Toronto fits, though. It's all defensive, perimeter-centric players that if you could add the right star to just spearhead the team, that could be a dangerous-ass team. So I don't mind them holding out. Bulls should blow it up. But I think Toronto holding out, I don't mind it because they're still like they're one move away from being back in contention.
Yeah, they're just missing that alpha.
Yeah, they're missing their guy.
But yeah, beyond that, y'all have any other teams y'all want to touch on free agency?
Just other than the Rockets just fucking throwing money out there like it's goodwill. I mean, other than that, they're just fucking donating money.
How do you feel about the Van Vliet signing?
I mean, I like it and I understand it. And I think we're kind of taking a page out of the Knicks book here, and because Van Vliet's going to be a very important player for the Rockets, and he's going to be very important to the development of Jalen Green. And I think you saw what Brunson did for that Knicks team. So I think we're kind of taking one out of their book after the Mavericks let Brunson walk. So we're kind of hoping for the same situation. Seeing Fred Van Vliet make $40 million is kind of crazy, but at the same time, we kind of had to do that if we wanted him where we're at, and that is probably the best point guard on the market right now. So I don't really hate it at all. But what I really do hate is that I'm going to have to somehow figure out a way to root for Dillon Brooks now, making $20 million a year, and he better be the best fucking defender on our team and potentially in the West if he has any chances of me rooting for him. Or he's going to have to get in multiple fights for me to end up liking him. So I don't know what it's going to take, but they spent a lot of money, and I don't know why the fuck we gave Jock Landale 4 fucking years, $30 million. I don't really get that at all.
I probably hate that one more than any of them, honestly.
Yeah,
that's a waste of.
I mean, before the playoffs, that guy was a reserve.
Yeah, I don't really know what the fuck that was there, and I don't know what that does to Şengün in the process either. If we're giving this Jock motherfucker fucking millions of dollars every year, so overall, I don't love it because we are spending a lot, but we kind of have to. We have the money to, and we can't just
you
wait
had to fill out the
another
salary
year.
somehow.
Yeah,
so.
we have to fill it out. So I don't really mind the Van Vliet. I think he could potentially have a Brunson-esque season, but the problem is we need more. We need a Julius Randle to step up. We really need Jalen Green to really hit it off with Van Vliet, or who the fuck knows what's next for us. I don't know. But
this might be a hot take, and I'll preface this by saying I wish the deals y'all made were 2 to 3 year deals and not 3 to 4 year deals. But
Van Vliet was 3 years.
I know his was 3, everyone else was 4. I'm saying if they were all within 2 to 3. I do like what y'all did by going and getting competitive players that are going to make your young team. It's going to put your young team in competitive positions. And what it's going to do, it's going to help them grow. But what it's not going to do is those players are going to still have to be the alpha. Like if James Harden is on that team, James Harden's the alpha, and he's the one leading the ship through crisis. With Van Vliet and Dillon Brooks, you're going to allow those young players to get to those crisis points, but they're going to have to figure it out. It's not going to be like, oh my God, we're down by 1 in the bubble or the play-in game. Like, here, James Harden, take the ball and shoot a step back 3. It's like, no, you have to go figure it out now. But what this does, it's going to speed up. It's going to speed up the development of those young guys, but it's going to allow them to still be the alpha on the team. I actually like what y'all did. The only concern I have is the contract lengths of especially Dillon Brooks and Landale and even Van Vliet. I think you'll trade Van Vliet after 2 years, but the contract length is the only issue because you're going to have to eventually start paying Jabari Smith and Şengün and Jalen Green
exactly
in 2 years, which is why I wish those deals were 2 year deals Because if
So I don't get the jock one. That one pisses me off still. I don't understand that.
You let them develop with these older guys that make you competitive, then they're gone. Now they're ready to take the team over. Now you pay them big money.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a little overlap there. But I actually like what you did. It's going to push
Yeah.
your guys because they're going to be a competitive team. There's too much talent.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be a spicy team that's probably going to maybe make the play-in.
Maybe, yeah.
But you're going to be in close games, and that's what's going to help those young guys develop. Which is
we learned a lot.
So I actually like it. I think y'all did well.
And I think
all the deals were shorter.
And I think Dillon Brooks, this is something that maybe a hot take. I'm not saying he's this player at all. But I think with Udoka there, he has a chance to become the Marcus Smart of the Houston Rockets in their future with 100%. However that future develops.
Yeah.
He really, I don't love the guy that much, and I'm going to have to get over it at some point once we start winning games. But at the same time, he does have all those sort of traits that Marcus Smart has. And yes, he may talk of way more shit than Marcus Smart does, but honestly, if we get a Marcus Smart type player out of Dillon Brooks in that contract, I may end up being totally fine with it and saying it was totally worth it because, like you said, it's going to force these guys to get more competitive because I think Dillon Brooks would kill one of our rookies if they're not trying to get competitive or get better. And I think the same with Van Fleet because all Van Fleet has ever had to do in the league is get better every single day, every practice, every game. So I agree. I like it, but it's a lot of money spent. That's the only thing we'll have to see.
What do you think about this idea? And this was just what me and you were talking about. But we're saying, like, what they did, it makes the Rockets competitive. They're going to be in games. They're going to be playing in high-stakes leverage moments. But what they didn't do is they didn't go get an alpha to control those moments. So what these moves are going to do, and it's why I said I wish the deals were shorter so you could space it to where, like, 2 years these contracts are up, in 2 years we got to start extending our young players. But in this 2-year window, the Rockets are going to be competitive. Like, there's too much talent there to not be. But what it's going to do is when you get in these competitive moments, Jalen Green has to figure it out. Jabari Smith has to figure it out. Like, and Thompson has to figure it out. You don't have James Harden there to where it's like, oh, we're down 1 in the play-in game. James Harden take the ball, shoot a step back. It's like, no, Jalen Green, you got to go figure this shit out. Like, this is your team. But that's why I like these moves because these moves are competitive moves, but they don't take away, like, the young players are still in control of the team. This just pushes the young players to be more competitive.
I like that for those young guys too, and I like it too for the fact that they will be competitive because the past 2 or 3 or 4 years after the Harden Paul thing, it's just like they have been known as like not even being competitive whatsoever and just a losing culture, losing organization. And I think that's good for y'all fans as Rocket fans and just for the players too in their mindset of, okay, like we're actually trying to win now. Like, yes, we're not a contender by any means, but we're actually going to go in games with the mindset of we can win any game we step into versus to where when you only have guys that are fucking 18 to 22, you have no you have no one to look up to. You have no one to say what's up. And now Van Vliet can be that guy for y'all. Brooks, I don't really mind the Brooks signing. I think if that LeBron fiasco doesn't happen with Brooks, then we're saying $20 million a year for Brooks is not a bad deal by any means. Like,
that's what I was telling.
I would have loved that deal for Dallas.
He's not an efficient scorer by any means, but you know you're going to get a lockdown defender and a guy that still does have some offensive upside. He still is pretty young. So,
and I was telling Bezney too with Udoka being there, he also has the chance of becoming the Marcus Smart of the Houston Rockets for the foreseeable future. And if you're getting that at $20 million, I think that's totally worth it when you see what that type of player can do for a team. So I'm just going to have to get over the fact I'm going to have to root for him eventually. And then when he's really bad, I'm going to have to tamper my expectations and my hate. But at the same time, I do agree. My only thing is, like Luke said, the money and the years on the contracts, that's my only thing really. But in terms of what we're looking to do and what could come from this, I like it, and I think this also finally puts Jalen Green in a spot to where, okay, yes, we have Fred VanVleet, but he is not a number one go-to guy. We have Dillon Brooks, but we have shown he is definitely not he may not really even be the number 3 guy on our team on offense, in all honesty. But at the same time, now Jalen Green, I say true point guard, a true leader, a true competitor to finally be around him. And then he has Dillon Brooks also, who's probably going to be chirping at him for being lazy or just trying to do all his stylistic fashion stuff and everything. I think this is going to be a wake-up moment for Jalen Green, and I truly think depending on how this season goes with how Jalen Green does, if he doesn't take a pretty big step forward for us in terms of, I think, pushing near all-star level, I think you could see him become a little more desirable and tradable for us to actually get someone in there that would make a difference. And that could be a year from now, a supermax sign and trade for Jaylen Brown and bring him back. Or that could be a go get Paul George from the Clippers after they, get knocked out because they're injured in the playoffs again. So my only thing again is those trades, or not the trades, the contracts to some guys, they're long. So that may screw over some of the young guys that we're going to have to pay, like Luke mentioned. But at the same time, if we're winning, those young guys are going to either have to be a part of the winning solution or they're not a part of it at all with Udoka. And that's kind of what we're doing as a whole. So
exactly.
I like it. I like it as a culture and organization, but in terms of like money and the values, like, was he worth this? Was he worth that? Definitely not. But we just had so much money to spend. We're like, we're just going to get who we want and then deal with whatever after that, because we need to be competitive now. So yeah, I agree.
And I like it. Yeah, it gives these young guys like confidence and competitiveness that I don't think was there at all for Houston. And now you can be in situations where we could actually run a team with Jalen shots not taking 25 shot attempts a game, highly contested. Like we could run a real team, a real offense with how we'd like to see in the future. And it gives these guys a real chance to actually somewhat succeed with these pieces around them. Whereas before it's just, okay, we have a bunch of 19-year-olds. I'll just go out there
let's just fucking
do whatever you can.
Let's just fucking see.
Yeah, and you can't really build up players with that kind of personnel or that kind of demeanor as a team. So I like the Rockets, what they did. A lot of people I think disagree and don't like it, but at some point you gotta get some real players in there.
Exactly.
I love it. And just real quick, I think this is an exciting time in general for Rockets fans because
it is.
I think between Amen Thompson, Jalen Green, Cam Whitmore, Jabari Smith, and Sagoon, I think all 5 of them have all-star potential. Obviously, some more than others, and not all are going to get there.
Right.
But I think I'd say at least one will get there. I mean, there's a decent chance 2 of them get to that level. And the thing is, like that process.
Yeah, and the thing is too is it's kind of getting off subject, but having fucking Ime Udoka there, shit, he is a master at developing guys. He got the whole Boston Celtics team to be a whole unit in his first year, and I honestly think the Rockets have, as a whole, more talented young players, not like Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, good young, but I think as a whole, like we have more young guys for him to develop and make into good NBA players. So it is an exciting time, like you said. So we'll just have to see, and hopefully these guys don't make everyone that was hating on the picks and the signings make us eat our words, hopefully. So hopefully they're eating theirs after this. So playing game. That's a hell of a win from the last 2 years of just saying, fuck it, let's see what happens, basically.
And y'all's philosophy, y'all are out of that. All right, we're just playing for a pick at this point. Let's try to do something. Do y'all have any other teams you want to touch on?
No, not really. I'm thinking we're good.
Okay.
Just get a little cover.
Good deal. All right, next up, we'll kind of hop into some trade talk here. First one on the burner, obviously Dame Lillard. He's gone at this point. The Trailblazers just like a dumpster fire. But Buzzsaw, I know you got a few juicers.
This is my time to shine, baby.
I know you got a few Dame juicers. Let's hear them.
I did I put some hours into this.
You went into the trade machine?
I went into the trade machine.
I will say this too. It's hard to like make trades in that trade machine.
I spent fucking an hour.
Oh yeah,
trying to figure out
the financial part of it sucks, dick. I didn't understand
I spent an hour trying to figure out a trade that worked, that teams that they would actually do with the Heat. So I got 2. I got Dame to the Heat and Dame to Philly. So those are the 2. They're both 3. I think they're both 3-team trades. One might be 4. No, they're both 3. All right. We'll go through the Heat one first. So this is a 3-team trade between the Miami Heat, the Golden State Warriors, and the Trailblazers. So the Warriors are facilitating this move. I almost did Boston, but I just couldn't see Boston facilitating Dame to the Heat. I can't see them doing that. That's their rival in the conference. They're not going to help them get Dame. So I went with the Warriors. All the Warriors are getting Yusuf Nurkic. They need a big man. This helps them out. They're still in win now mode, obviously. They just got Draymond. They're picking up Nurkic. They're going to send out Gary Payton, Moses Moody, and some random guy named Brandon Podziemski.
That's the guy they just drafted at 19.
Okay, they're sending him out to Portland. Or maybe someone else. It doesn't really matter. I just needed someone to fill out like $2 more million, so we can swap that, whatever. So basically, they're sending out Gary Payton, Moses Moody, and a salary filler to the Trailblazers. Heat are getting Dame and Nico Mannion. We had to figure out someone a little salary cap filler there. So they're just getting Dame and Nico Mannion. Miami is sending Portland Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Jazang, or whatever his name is, Jazang, the guy from UCLA, their first-round draft pick. Jovic, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and 2 first pick swaps. So in total, Portland gets Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Gary Payton, Moses Moody, Nikolai Jovic, salary filler from Golden State. They get 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 2 first pick swaps. Golden State gets their center in Nurkic because they still need a big. Their tallest guy is fucking Kuminga. They need someone to run pick and roll with CP. They trade off their other young assets. They get Nurkic, who, if he's healthy, is a 15 and 10 guy. Portland gets Dame. And Portland still has the Martin brother. They still have Bam and Jimmy, obviously. They actually keep Kyle Lowry in this deal, too. And they've got, developmental players after that.
What happened to James Wiseman? I'm just curious. Is he on the Warriors?
They sent him to the Pistons for 5 second-round picks.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Well, then they traded all 5 of those for Gary Payton.
I don't mind. I think if any team was to say no in that, it would be Golden State. Because I don't think Nurkic provides them size, which they definitely need.
Nurkic is really good. I mean, he's good when he's healthy.
He's a good offensive center for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 7 foot 250 guy. So he's not like the rim protector, but he's a presence at least down low, kind of like Jokic is.
Yeah.
And they're sending out Gary Payton and Moses Moody, and then some $2 million crap ball off their bench.
Yeah, and the salary filler. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it for Golden State. I think Golden State actually may value Gary Payton. They traded 5 second-round picks for him.
Yeah,
was that kind of defensive guy off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And for Portland, how many picks do they get?
They get 2 firsts and 2 pick swaps. But they pick up Hero, Robinson, Jazang, Gary Payton, Moses Moody, and Jovic. So that's 6 young players.
You're getting Jazang, and who's a rookie. You're getting Moody, who may have some upside still in all those picks.
Jovic, who we don't know about, Hero, 20-point-a-game score. They're getting 6 young players, and then 2 first, 2 pick swaps. And those picks are a 28 first unprotected and a 20-30 unprotected from Miami. So those are probably going to be fucking amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah, those 3-team trade. Yeah, those 3-team trades, you always wonder because some team in there, there's always a big loser in a 3-team trade, but you always have to look at it as a situational thing. So I kind of like the Nurkic in there because I don't really think there is truly anyone they could get in other 3-team trades, which you're probably going to go over here in a little bit. I don't really think there's another big that would be better than Nurkic and would actually be worth like the Warriors saying, all right, yes, like we're giving away Moses Moody in this, but honestly, they may think they're a big man away from being a complete team. And I think they do. Nurkic, that's what I'm saying. So, Nurkic, if he's healthy, he's not necessarily like a dominator in the paint on defense, but he's a good offensive player, and that is just another
15 and 10 guy.
Exactly. Good boards. Yeah, he's not a bad player, and he's probably, in terms of the teams looking at doing 3-team trades, probably one of the better options to get back. So I kind of like throwing in Nurkic. Yeah,
that was the hard thing for me because I had to figure out either a way to trade Lowry to a team that needs a point guard, which is why Boston came up. But Boston's not going to facilitate a trade for Dame to Miami. They're not.
Yeah.
But
someone always
Warriors have
short end.
Warriors have no stake in the Eastern Conference, and a team that needs a starting center. And I was like, okay, well, we can do Golden State. That's their one need.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trading. Moody's been completely underwhelming since they drafted him. He's had a couple of moments, but and they do value Gary Payton, but max Gary Payton's giving you 20 minutes a game, 8 points, and good defense. Like, I think the value. I think you can talk yourself into like, okay, we can get 16 and 12 out of Nurkic when he's healthy. On top of everything else around him, we're going to be almost unstoppable offensively.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would push the needle for them. And I think the package for Portland, you get those 6 young players.
which is what they need. Yeah.
And then because obviously you can then swap those players. I think you move Tyler Hero after that. You get 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and then 2 first pick swaps. I think that's a pretty good haul.
Yeah.
Especially how much
and I feel like with Portland, too, everyone's saying, like, why would they want Tyler Hero? Because they already have the, inflation of guards already there. But, yeah, then again, Tyler Hero or Simmons or Shady and Sharp,
Pretty
it's
cold.
like, obviously, all of these guys aren't going to be a part of your future plans, but you're going to swap. You're going to eventually, one of those guys is going to step up, one's not, then you're going to end up swapping them for more future assets to get.
Well, and that's the nice thing. Robinson and Hero, they're very tradable contracts. It's 18 and 27 million. So if you want to bring someone
and Hero's still what, like 24 years old?
Yeah, he's like 25. Okay, real quick. All this Shade and Sharp talk. Who is this guy actually that good? Because I hear everyone they have such a good young core. They can build around this Shade and Sharp guy. Like, is he really anything? Like, he averaged 9 points a game last year as a rookie, which is
his upside. So he didn't have crazy numbers last year, but there were moments where he kind of showed when Dame was, Dame would be hurt every now and then or get a rest because they're kind of shit. And, at the end of the year, Dame didn't really play that much. So he had some moments where he was looking really fucking scary, because what makes him so dangerous is he is a 6'8" guard almost, which if you talk about Tyler Hero, you could easily slide that big motherfucker over to small forward and you have a 6'8" guard playing forward. And he is ridiculously athletic. I mean, he can shoot the ball. He's just not super consistent. And he didn't even play college basketball. I mean, he was committed to Kentucky, was hurt the whole time. So there is a lot of upside. And I think what he has shown as a young player, even though it's nothing crazy, he could be absolutely terrifying if you give him starter minutes, which is what they're going to be looking at now. But I think if this is your core that you're developing and building up, and you would eventually pay Tyler Hero after the trade you're talking about, Scoot Henderson, Tyler Hero, Shade and Sharp. If those 3 guys, I mean, Scoot and Tyler Hero are probably the more for sure going to have great careers. But if Shade and Sharp turns out to be as good as like everyone's talking about and how good he has shown, like in terms of the upside, holy fuck! I mean, that's kind of scary.
And then you have the tradable guards and Duncan Robinson, Gary Payton, and Moses Moody. You don't think Boston would come knocking on their door for Gary Payton? Like,
exactly. Like once those 3 develop,
you have a massive guard influx, which then you swap at the deadline for pieces. So okay, I gotta go real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay,
all good. But do you have any
Dame trades?
So I didn't do any of the big trade machine ones. I just thought one sneaky destination that y'all talked about too. I mean, I kind of wrote it down as well. I really like the idea of him going to Toronto again, because, we kind of talked about it earlier. They really are just one piece away from an alpha away from being a top tier team in the East. And so with that being said, I think them kind of being a sneaky player in the Dame field could be interesting. But once again, I don't know if that would work out, because that kind of puts Dame in this situation again to where, yes, I think the Raptors are a very good, potentially contending team. But then you could also, if they're not and shit hits the fan with the group that they have right now, that could be something that's shitty. And I also don't think Dame wants to go to a first-year coach situation either. I think he really wants to go somewhere that is basically, he knows what he's going to get out of his entire coaching staff, what's expected of him. And there really isn't a better place to go in terms of go to Miami, and having Dame Lillard and Jimmy Butler in playoff time is pretty terrifying in my opinion. Yeah. So that would be, and if Bam Adebayo is your 3rd player in the playoffs on those guys, if he needs to get better offensively. But I mean, he dribbles that shit up the court. That would be a very fucking scary team. And then also just because of the assets, and if they wanted to blow things up and, because of the contract that is available, if for some reason that the T-Wolves were interested, I could see it, because they just invested in Ant, and they also have Cat locked in. So if they could somehow get rid of Gobert and make some picks and just kind of throw in a haul, they would have to be like a 3-team trade, I think, to make that work for them. But I think there's some sneaky teams that are on the verge of contending that may intrigue Dame. But I think it comes down to Dame is wanting to go somewhere where he knows what he's going to get, and he's not going to get a better coach situation, and he's not looking to be with the first-year head coach his first season there. I think Dame is trying to stay away from a whole lot of noise from wherever he goes if possible. He's kind of used to that, and that's kind of what he's been thriving off of, honestly. Obviously, he's going to get it from wherever he goes now, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what teams kind of throw in here if the Heat can't do something, because it totally changes what I think Dame's thinking in terms of where he wants to go. Because not many people have the sort of organizational structure the Heat can offer Dame from where he's coming from, organizationally structured before. So
Yeah.
Total polar opposite. So that's why, other than the Heat, it's really interesting to see what organization really sticks out to him.
Yeah, and I agree. I think Toronto would be a sneaky move too. I don't think Dame ends up there because I think ultimately, like the loyalty he showed to the Blazers, they're going to ultimately send him where he wants to go. But yeah,
Right.
with the Toronto thing, my one trade that I liked was with the Raptors, and it was Dame for OG, Chris Boucher, Otto Porter for filler, then 3 first-round picks. And like we saw with Toronto, I mean, they go and get Dame in there. I think that team could be a real contender. If you have Dame, Siakam, Scotty Barnes,
What's
Hurdle,
Toronto giving up?
OG, Chris Bush. I don't know how do you say his last name? Boucher?
Boucher. I think it's Boucher.
Bobby
I believe it's
Boucher.
French.
Yeah,
Yes.
Boucher, then Otto Porter to salary fill it with 3 or 4 first-round picks, however you want to do that. But
Yeah.
I don't think that'll happen, but I think that would be a fun trade idea to see Dame on there. Toronto's the first-year head coach, like you said, could be a problem, but Toronto, I feel like it's kind of like a Blazers organization. They're very loyal to their players. Everyone seems to like the culture.
Yeah. But the
Beyond
Raptors do have
Raptors.
more of a winning culture as an org, not of late, not as a whole franchise, but of late. They're kind of known as, like with Usai Mejri as the GM there, they're kind of known as a great organization. So that's also where I think, depending on what happens with the Heat, that Dame is really going to want to go somewhere where he is going to have upper level, top tier management, coaching, and teammates that want to win, not just what could be. He's going to want almost for sure wherever he's going, I think.
Yeah, if I'm Portland and Toronto's calling me, I'm
interested.
I'm getting Scotty Barnes. I'm saying you got to give me Scotty Barnes, which is no deal. Kind of like how that's like they're saying with Philly, like it's got to be Maxey or nothing. I'm like, you got to give me Scotty Barnes. Which, I mean, I could see Toronto talking themselves into, like, Scotty Barnes wouldn't fit their timeline if they got Dame, OG, Pascal, Pirtle, Gary Trent fits their timeline better. And if I'm Portland, I'm like, you give me Scotty Barnes, 2 first-round picks, done deal. Boom. I think that could be the making of a fucking hell of a team in Portland.
Yeah. Do we got you?
You can still swap Nurkic and Jeremy Grant.
I kind of fucking forgot about
Jeremy Grant's going to be hard, but after that,
I kind of forgot it. I kind of forgot about Anthony Simmons or Simons. Yeah. Honestly, he is fucking good too. So I mean, even
dude,
big in that mega trade. I was referring to the mega trade.
They would have made the deal by now if they want team involved, because they're not going to do it. They don't want a hero to be the best. So
yeah, I think Raptors are a little sneaky little. That
can y'all hear me
now? Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, it keeps lagging out.
Oh shit! Oh, there you go. You're back.
Okay. Jesus Christ, it's lagging out bad.
No, it lagged out again.
Okay. Well, beyond Dame. Let's touch on James Harden.
Hold on.
Do you have one more? Do you have one more?
I got my Sixers trade, baby.
Okay, let's hear it.
This has James Harden. And I'm prefacing this. If I'm Philadelphia and I'm in the position right now, I'm going to figure out a way to make a 3-team deal between the Clippers, the Sixers, and the Trailblazers, with James Harden being the centerpiece of my package. Like, I'm going to do everything in my power, because if I'm sending Harden out, I don't need to send Maxey out. Like, the gap, I mean, Dame is better than Harden. The gap is not that big. Like, I don't need to trade Harden for pieces and then trade Maxey for Dame. If I'm Daryl Morey, I'm sitting down, I'm like, I'm fucking figuring this out. I can trade Dame, get LA to send assets to Portland, and we can make the deal that way. So this is the deal I came up with. Sixers are sending out Tobias Harris. They're sending out They only have one first-round pick to trade. They're sending out Tobias Harris, one first-round pick, 4 second-round picks, and 4 first-round pick swaps. Actually, oh no, I'm sorry. They're sending Harden too. Never mind. So they're sending Tobias, Harden, a first, 4 seconds, 2 first-round pick swaps. Harden is going to the Clippers. Everything else is going to Portland. So Tobias, a first, 3 seconds, and 2 first-round pick swaps are going to Portland. Clippers are getting Harden and Jusuf Nurkic, and then Man and Bones Highland and a 2028 first-round pick. Also, they're sending Portland Marcus Morris, and they're getting back Harden and Nurkic to go with Kawhi, CP, and all their other pieces or whatever. So Portland in total gets Tobias Harris, Norman Powell, Zubac, Terrence Mann, Bones Highland, a first-round pick in 2028 from Clippers, first-round pick from Philly in 2029, and then 4 seconds and 2 first pick swaps. Philly's getting Dame, Marcus Morris, and Ben McLemore. Clippers are getting Harden and Nurkic. What do you think?
I just think Portland's gonna want more picks.
Well, I feel like if Portland's getting Tobias and Norman Powell, I feel like you can flip that into 3 more firsts. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get a lot.
Yeah.
Tobias is on an expiring contract. Norman Powell's a good player.
I just think Tobias is tough, though, because you're going to have to match that $40 million he's making with another team, and there's really not that many avenues to be able to flip him.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's already teams calling Philly about Tobias. I mean, Cleveland's calling about him. You could make a deal with Cleveland. You could do Jared Allen. You could do a couple first-round picks. And that's how I preface this was like, if you're Portland, this isn't the last move, but you're doing this because you get. Actually, I have 3 first-round picks. LA is sending out 2 unprotected first-round picks, 2028 and 2030. So they're getting 3 unprotected firsts, and they're getting 2 first pick swaps.
Okay.
And that the Clippers picks
players.
The Clippers picks kind of become enticing in case they aren't able to do something very competitive soon, because they may blow the whole fucking
regardless. Dude, they're 2028 and 2030.
They may blow
the next 2 years. They're gonna suck dick by then. I mean,
exactly. Yeah, they would. If shit doesn't happen, they're gonna blow it the fuck up, because they have to, because there's so much money invested. You just have to blow it up and try and get your money back, basically, in a way. So, I mean, I like it because of the fits and the needs. It's definitely would be one of the more higher. I mean, this Dame trade would obviously be one of the bigger blockbuster trades in NBA history, obviously, first off. But this would definitely be one of the higher, like, I would say, caliber player trades you'll see, because you're getting 3 for sure. Maybe, I mean, Norman Powell, I would say, is a starter in this league. So, I mean, you're getting 4 starters in that trade.
I mean, Zubac.
Yeah, 5. You're getting – you could build a team off of the guys you're trading away if you just wanted to make a team off of those guys alone. So, I mean, I like it because there's definitely value in the players. I think it just ultimately comes down to what the Sixers want to do, because I think there's this weird still part of the Sixers, even though obviously they've shown they want to win now more, there's still this like looming cloud of like the trust the process bullshit they had for a while. And I think that's kind of still in the building a little bit to this day for some reason. And 100%. I think until I think the getting of Dame is really going to be the fuck the process. The process is over. We're going to win fucking now.
If they get Dame, it's the end all be all. There is no more moves. If it fucks up with Dame, the process is done.
Done. Yeah.
Dame's over. And I heard, and like, I think Philly could make a deal around Maxey and just you don't need a third team.
Same.
Around Maxey. And I think if it comes to Philly, that's what's going to end up happening, because I think Philly's looking at it like Embiid turns 30 this year. Embiid is a 7-foot, almost 280-pound big man who
with
gets
the injury history.
He has about 3 more years left before he goes like Phoenix Shaq mode. Like, really, like he's got about 3 years, and then he's probably cooked. So like Maxi's great,
Mhm.
and then I would be trying to keep Maxi, but you could convince yourself like our Embiid window is probably 2 more seasons.
Yeah, like fuck the
It's a
process.
game
Yeah.
now, and we got to win now because
And
once Embiid turns 33, I mean, his body's going to break down. His body's already
exactly.
broken down so much. So I could see them convincing themselves of that.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point too. Was that the big guys in the NBA they do not
No,
last as long as other positions in the league. So
that especially,
I mean, I
yeah.
get that you want to keep Maxi, but at the same time, that kind of sticks with the trust the process idea, and it's like kind of fuck that. Like y'all need to win now. Like you're going to lose what is an MVP caliber player playing alongside Dame just so you can develop Maxi. Which it'd be great to keep him, but if you can get Dame and give away Maxi and somehow get rid of that fucking Tobias Harris contract, I think that's a win, and that's a total like, all
Well,
right, fuck the
right.
process. We're over. We're winning right fucking now, and we're back in this shit. And then you can actually capitalize on the window. If it sucks in 3 years, Dame will be on the last. We'll have 1 more year left on his contract. Hopefully, he's still really fucking good by the time Embiid's coming out of his prime. But I think they just kind of need to say fuck the process. Let's go get it. If we need to give up Maxi, fuck it, let's do it. Portland, they'll have the assets to make him great, but honestly, I think I would rather have Dame than Tyrese Maxey any day.
Well, and that's what I try to do with this trade. Because like if I'm already trading Harden, I'll just get Tobias out too, and I can keep Maxey. And they get Marcus Morris back, but whatever. But if I have Dame, Maxey, and Embiid, I'm set. And I feel like if you're trading Harden, I feel like you could facilitate a deal with Portland and LA.
Yeah.
Make a deal together. Honestly, with the trade I created, now looking at it, I think the Clippers would probably say no. I know they're getting Harden and Nurkic, but in total, the Clippers are giving up Marcus Morris, Norman Powell, Zubac, Terrence Mann, Bones Highland, and 2 unprotected future firsts. I don't know if that's worth Harden or Nurkic, but I could also see the Clippers convincing themselves like we fucked ourselves. We either dig out and we blow it up, or we fucking double down and go all in, which Steve Ballmer kind of seems like he wants to fucking do. So I think
he's he kind of seems like that
and doing it like that. And you also get Nurkic too, which I mean, with Paul George and Kawhi, your defense is going to be fine. You can afford to have a defensive liability at center. So
it's spicy, but I think I would probably if I were to do like an order of the top contenders, obviously for Dame, it would be the Heat. 2, I would have the Sixers. 3, I would have the Raptors. That would be my top 3 of like the teams to go after. Honestly,
Boston's lurking.
Boston is lurking. I just wonder, and I guess they have picks still.
They'd have to trade Jaylen Brown.
It would have to be Jaylen Brown.
There's no way else to do it. You have to trade Jaylen, which I don't know if they're going to do.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be the Heat or the Sixers. I don't think they're not. I don't think they're gonna trade him to the Timberwolves. I don't think they're trading him to Utah. They're not trading him to. Sixers. I think it's gonna be. I mean, I could see it being Boston if they say we'll give you Jaylen Brown, because if they're giving him Jaylen Brown, Portland's accepting that. And they'll be like, tough shit. Like I'm sorry you don't want to go to Boston, but you can go play alongside Jason Tatum alongside Jason Tatum for the Celtics, like the most historic franchise ever.
Yes,
But we're not doing you that dirty.
Yeah.
Like we're not doing you that dirty. Like go to Boston. Like tough shit.
Yep.
Like
another set organization.
Yeah. We're not going to do Utah or San Antonio, but it's going to be those top 3 teams in the East. It's going to be one of them.
Yeah. Well, beyond that, James Harden, Pascal Siakam, 2 more names looming on trade talks. What do y'all feel there?
Spicy P becomes interesting depending on what the Raptors want to do. If they want to go after and get that star player, I think you have to give up Spicy P, mainly because I said he was a younger player earlier, but that's only because he's been in the league for not that long, actually. But he's not really a young player anymore. I would say he's kind of right in his prime right now. And then if they want to, there are a couple guys on the Clippers named Paul George and Kawhi Leonard that I think are very enticing if I'm the Toronto Raptors, being one superstar away. I think Paul George is honestly the perfect fit for them to trade back if they can. I know having Kawhi would obviously be the better story, making his return, won the championship there. But sometimes I like Paul George more than Kawhi Leonard. And then sometimes I like Kawhi Leonard more than Paul George. But you get Paul George the reins and let him be the guy, he is pretty fucking good. And we saw that in that year in Oklahoma City where he was a MVP candidate. So I kind of like the Clippers doing something with the old Spicy P if they're thinking about it.
Yeah, but I think Pascal stays put. I mean, he already said that any team that trades for him, he's not going to re-sign, that he wants to stay in Toronto. And I think Toronto, like we said, they're a loyal organization. If some team offers the farm for him, they're going to have their hands tied behind their back. They're
Right.
going to have to take a deal. But I think if you're any other team in the league, you already have this information that Pascal is literally saying, I'm not going to re-sign here. And that might change. You know, he might love whatever team he goes to, the players, the culture, and all that. But
or
if
maybe
I'm
the Raptors like get shitty all of a sudden.
yeah,
you
but
know?
if I'm a team, I'm not going to trade the farm for Pascal. I would make a trade for him. I wouldn't trade the farm though, just because there's a very good chance he's a 1-year rental.
Well, and it's the same thing with Harden too. I feel like Harden has no market other than the Clippers. So I really think it's Clippers or back to the Sixers if they miss out on Dame. Like I don't see.
And what do the Clippers even have to give up for Harden?
They would give up kind of the same package. They would do the Norman Powell, Zubac, Terrence Mann, Bonehound.
Yeah.
Which actually, I mean, I think that could be a good thing for the
Those
Sixers.
aren't bad players at all.
And it could elevate Maxey into a bigger role, which I think they
Maxey
need.
in the second star role, which is where he really belongs, where he needs to be. You need to see it, and we need to see him if he can excel in that role. And Marcus Morris, Norman Powell, Terrence Mann, maybe Nicholas Batum, you're deep all of a sudden. You're really deep. And Norman Powell, we saw it. He can give you 25 a game. Obviously, I don't know if you're better, but I think you're better positioned for the future. You have tradable assets. You probably get a first-round pick in there. But I don't see anywhere else Harden goes other than the Clippers.
Yeah,
I don't think there's another market.
No, it's a very slim market out here.
And he said he's not really interested in going back to Houston because of the Jalen Green, Paul George thing and what he had to say.
I think after Van Vliet, the Houston thing's wrapped.
Yeah, that's kind of Jenga there. So
yeah,
I'd be pissed if we give up Jalen Green to get Harden. That would be bullshit. But
all right, well, Big E, let's hear your power forward list, bud.
All righty, so I did a top 10 power forward list, and some of these guys y'all may think are small forwards. I have them in there as well because they are listed as a power forward or they start at power forward for their team potentially. So with that, I'm going to start with my honorable mentions. Depending on how you look at it, I didn't know what position to put him at. I had Scotty Barnes because a lot of sites, they had him as a power forward. So I had him as my honorable mention at 13. At 12, I had Jeremy Grant. He just got a big bag, and I think it obviously, money's been flying around and Rich Paul helps with those contracts, but he is about as much as a typical. Yes. Yeah. So he was a part of the big Rich Paul spree. So with that being said, I think Jeremy Grant, he's a hell of a player there at number 12. And then at number 11, I really hated this, but I can't really deny it because of this. Some of this has to do with legacy still. I had Draymond there just because he still has clearly had a high value, obviously, still, and another Rich Paul deal. So with all that being said, getting into the top 10, I got Evan Mobley, Banchero, Markkanen, Siakam, Jackson, Randall, Zion, AD, KD, and big old mean motherfucking Giannis. Y'all let me know what y'all think about there.
Can you go back through 8 through 4?
Yeah, sorry, a little too fast. Gotcha. So 8 through 4 would be Markkanen, Siakam, Jackson Jr.
JJJ?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Randall.
Yep.
And Zion.
Did you list Sabonis as a power forward or no?
I had him as a center because he is the starting center on the Kings, but he was that's what I know. Some people could consider him power forward. I kind of consider him a center because he's the paint presence for them.
So you had Giannis, KD, AD is your top 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had Zion at 4.
Zion at 4. I know there's.
And then you had Randall.
Some questions there.
You had Randall at 5.
Mm-hmm.
And Jaren Jackson, Siakam, and Markkanen.
Yep.
And who was your 9 and 10?
9 and 10, Banchero and Mobley. And honest to God, there's a chance by the end of this season, Paolo Banchero is ahead of Julius Randle at number 5, depending on how he develops.
There's a chance he's at number 4.
Did you not have Aaron Gordon in your honorable mention or anything?
So I thought about it there, but honestly, my main thing with him is that in terms of the legacy, I felt like this was kind of his first real come out year. And I don't love Draymond, but I can't really hate. I kind of have to respect him at the same time because he has a clear value in this league. And I think that's just very rare to have his type of player. So he was in my honorable mention. And I would say for probably the past 5 years, he's usually in that top 10. So I don't think he's fallen off a cliff. He's just, definitely not as talented as these guys. But in terms of being a top tier player and performer in the NBA, I got to pay some respect to him there.
Yeah, I would have my list kind of similar. I would have Siakam ahead of Julius Randle. I just think Siakam gives you a lot more defensively. As a scorer, I think they're almost the same. Julius Randle's a better playmaker. I just don't really like Julius Randle as a player. Like in the playoffs too, we just saw him take so many stupid shots. Like if Randle is really trying to play his game right, he's good. But I think a lot of time he just wants to settle for these mid-range jumpers, which he's not great at. And is Randle great at defense? I really don't know.
He's not.
He's like a Jokic.
Yeah.
So he's mid-tier,
he's strong.
pretty
like
much.
you're not gonna move him around super easily, but he's also not gonna be like a paint presence, I would say.
Yeah, I don't really have any problem. I would have Siakam a little bit higher. Beyond that, I mean, I would kind of have it around the same type of deal.
Yeah. Jaren Jackson, I mean, I was thinking about switching JJJ and Julius Randle for a little bit. I don't know. Part of me thinks if Julius Randle and JJJ played one-on-one together, if I had the best version of each other, I kind of think Julian Randle will win because he has more of like a bag and a package to his game. But that's also, I have a thing too, which keep in mind with power forwards that are playmakers that can dribble and create. So I kind of value that ahead of anything for power forwards, honestly. And so that's probably why I have Draymond in there, is because he does much more than your typical power forward would. But then with that being said, I love playmaking big men who can dribble and pass a little bit. So pretty much my entire one, other than AD, is not really a passer by any means. And Zion, that's a whole nother subject. But if he's right when he's good to go,
Zion's
were fucking hard.
Yeah, I think Zion's one. You could have him at 4. You could have him at like 8 or 9.
You could have him at It's just value potential or what. So
if I'm getting 2 seed Pelicans, I like Zion at 4. That's for sure.
I think I would still have Draymond in there over. I don't think Paulo deserves to be in there yet. Paulo was awesome. He deserved Rookie of the Year. He was inefficient as hell. And he was on a shitty ass team. I mean, actually, the Magic weren't terrible. He was on a shitty team. I think Draymond deserves to be in there over Paulo. Paulo's still a rookie. You're right, though. I think Paulo could be 5 at the end of next season. Mobley could be 5 too. Only other thing is I'd probably have Siakam over Randle and Jaren Jackson. Although Jaren Jackson is so damn good at defense that
I know. Yeah.
And Randle's a better offensive player. I think Siakam's kind of the mix of both. So.
Yeah. And that kind of goes back to what I said, like with Paolo, I really like the playmaking big guy that can do a lot more than just be a big man down there. That's, 3-and-D stretch 4. Paolo is fucking filthy. So that's why I kind of put him in the top 10, is that he could cook maybe not all of them, but he could cook most of these guys in the top 10 in a one-on-one game. And I kind of respect the fuck out of that, being a power forward. So that's why I got him in there. Draymond, he was number 11 for a reason. I mean, I almost put him ahead of Mobley there because he also does so much. But Mobley is a motherfucker on defense. And his upside was definitely part of me playing him in there. But he is, if he had to just be the guy on a team, I think he easily could. He just doesn't really have to be on that Cleveland team. So I'm kind of paying a little respect to his upside.
I'm still waiting on Mobley. I mean, I think Mobley's amazing. I think he's one of the best young pieces in the league.
Right.
But he needs to develop offensively. I mean, he's great. He can give me 14, 15, but I think we're all expecting Mobley to be like Tim Duncan level player. Like we're expecting him to be a 22, 12, 3-block a game guy for his career.
Yep.
I think
Exactly.
we're still waiting on that. But I do think that's still going to happen. So once that happens,
Mhm.
he's gonna pull
And
them.
then yeah, that's the thing. Like by the time the season starts, I mean, you could easily see Lowry Markkanen. Hell, if he gets better from last year, I mean, he's gonna have to jump
Yeah.
Julius Randle, Pat, Spicy
I
P,
forgot
and
about
Jared Jack.
Markkanen.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets better off of last year, or if he has the same year, I think he's still a top 10 guy on my list, regardless. But I mean, he was an all star. But I mean, honestly, he has. I would say the bottom three of that list easily, depending on how the season goes and starts, easily could all get in right there behind AD and in any fucking order, really, those three. I mean, you could I kind of flipped those three other than Market and giving him the all-star kudos, sticking in front of Mobley and Banchero. But yeah, that's I just love a playmaking big guy. So that's kind of what I did a little bit of my ranking based off was having big guys that can do things that not a lot of other big guys or fours are doing other than just like hunkering in the paint and shooting the occasional three. I like some dynamicness to my power forwards in the top 10.
Dynamicness. Love it.
Yes, sir.
Can't go against sheer dominance, though, baby.
That's
AD,
true.
Giannis, come on.
I know.
I gotta
They're
run
just
real
too
quick.
good. All good. But yeah, KD, obviously, I mean, I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, KD, AD, like depending on what you
Yeah.
look at. But I like I said, I respect the playmaking ability. So that's why I got KD. He's just more skilled, obviously.
You wanna run through your top 10 real quick? Just a quick hitter real quick.
Yeah. So number 10, we got Mobley. Number 9, we got Banchero. 8, Markkanen. 7, Siakam. 6, JJ or Jackson Jr. 5, Randall. 4, Zion. 3, AD. 2, KD. 1, Giannis.
Beautiful.
You can't really argue with Giannis much. That was a pretty no-brainer.
No, I don't think. Yeah, the top 3 are for sure.
If it was blacktop, he'd be my center, but this isn't blacktop, so yeah.
And I think AD might be listed as center on a lot of these websites too. Are they'll have them as power forwards or centers.
I actually kind of used I used 2K to help me because 2K is kind of on point with their positions. They have guys in. Yeah, so I was like, okay, let me just look at the 2K, like what they're at in 2K. So I was like, all right.
I just go by whatever ESPN is. I just go by that. But it's fucked. Like ESPN will have AD as a power forward, and then like NBA will say he's a center.
Yeah, Sabonis was flip-flopping on all of them.
Yeah, so sometimes it's just hard to like actually to identify them as what they are. But so I'll hop into my center list real quick. So for my honorable mentions, I have Jared Allen, Walker Kessler, Jacob Hurdle, Wendell Carter Jr., Honus Valanciunas, Alperen Sengun, and Robert Williams. That's no particular order. That's just the honorable mention. And then for my top 10 center list, at 10, I have DeAndre Ayton. At number 9, I have Rudy Gobert. 8, Nick Claxton. 7, Miles Turner. 6, Brooke Lopez. 5, Cat. 4, KP. 3, Bam. 2, Embiid. 1, the Joker.
I'm going to assume defense was why Claxton was on there, right?
Wait, where was Claxton?
I think he had
8. Do you want me to run through that again?
No, I just need 10.
10, Ayton.
Okay, hang on real quick. Just because we had the Turner-Ayton debate earlier, why is Turner over Ayton?
Because I like the fact he can stretch the floor and Ayton can't.
Right. I mean, Ayton's got much better interior post game. I think offensively Ayton's better, but
I just like the fact that Turner I could have him on the 3-point line if I have good guys around him getting him open looks, and he's a reliable knockdown shooter for me. He can hit those shots. Ayton, he really can't stretch the floor. You could leave him wide open on the 3.
Did you know that's Sabonis?
I had him as a power forward, so
okay.
He would definitely be in there if.
What about KP sneaking in at 4, huh?
Yeah, KP might be high at 4 on a lot of lists, but I mean, dude, like the thing with KP, if he's healthy, I mean, he's a better Miles Turner if he's healthy, and I mean, yeah, he's not going to be that lockdown rim protector, but he's going to get a lot of blocks. He's going to make splash plays, and he's going to shoot almost 40% from 3, and he's going to get you boards. So,
I'm not a fan of the Miles Turner analogy, but already gone through.
How do y'all feel about Brook Lopez at 6?
I honestly, I like KP over Karl Anthony Towns. I almost would have Brook Lopez over Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand. I think fit-wise, Brook Lopez is a phenomenal fit pretty much anywhere. But with Cat, Cat's offensive bag I think he just offers a lot more.
Okay, wait. Why is Claxton at 8?
Because I like Claxton as a pick and roll guy, and I think he got 2nd in Defensive Player of the Year.
No,
he was up there.
No, it wasn't. It was Brook Lopez, Jaren Jackson, and Evan Mobley were top 3. Brook Lopez finished 2nd. I think Mobley finished 3rd.
I was wondering.
Jaren Jackson won.
Okay, yeah, you're right. He wasn't 2nd or 3rd, but I might have Claxton high. I think Claxton, he doesn't offer anything stretching the floor, but you're getting a great defender and you're getting good rebounding and still an offensive threat. I may have Claxton a little bit high.
I don't like Claxton doesn't do anything offensively other than dunk. Like he can't do. I mean, like he has no mid range, no post game. Like I
have him as an honorable mention.
I know everyone forgets about Valanciunas. Valanciunas could give you 20 and 10, like efficiently. And I think Aiden can too.
Yeah, I think Ayton very well could be higher. It's just I feel like there's just so much unknown with DeAndre Ayton right now, to where I don't really know where to put him.
Yeah, my really only issue is Claxton.
Same here.
How do y'all feel about Rudy at 9?
I mean, I don't.
If you left Rudy off the list, I don't even care.
Yeah, I would have been okay with you leaving him off, but I'm not. I don't hate putting him on there because I have a feeling you probably value defense a lot with your centers. I'm guessing, right? Like with how you rate them. Yeah, that's how I was like. I put like playmaking ahead of something. So
I value if we're defense and rebounding a ton.
Okay. So yeah, if that's the case, then I don't mind that at all because that's pretty much all he fucking does is defense and rebound. So that I don't mind that at all. I know he gets a lot of hate just because of like the situation, but
I think his fit's just terrible. Like if this was last year, Rudy would probably be like 5th,
higher,
probably.
Yeah.
I think if his fit in Minnesota, it definitely diminishes his value and his name. But yeah, I agree. Claxton probably is a little bit high on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all like KP at 4? Do y'all think I have KP too high?
I would have flipped Cat and KP to be honest, but I don't dislike KP at 4. I just would have switched
Karl Anthony Towns, so I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know not a lot of people love Cat, and he just says some questionable shit very often. But he that motherfucker can do some very dynamic things from the center position that are very rare, and obviously KP can too. But I don't know. I felt
KP can kind of do the same thing.
Yeah, right. That's what I know KP can too. That's why they're very close to me. But I felt like if I were to just feed someone once a game and have them be a go-to guy, I think I would rather have it be Karl Anthony Towns with his skill set than have KP be my go-to center, if that makes sense.
I think the top 3. I think this is probably the easiest top 3.
Easy.
So easy.
All positions.
So Jokic, Embiid, Bam. Like I don't think
point guard is hard as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, my really only issue is Claxton.
Yeah, I would have maybe.
Honestly, I think Walker Kessler is just as good as Claxton. Like they do this.
That's what I had him as an honorable mention.
No, yeah,
I couldn't put him in the top 10. He only averaged 9 points a game last year.
Well, he only started for half the season, and when he started, he averaged like 12, 11, and 2 blocks. And he can shoot the ball. Like I don't think Claxton.
He can shoot.
He can shoot a little bit. Like he's not going to shoot pull-ups, but like if you kick it to the corner and he's wide open, you shoot it. He's not like DeAndre Ayton or Claxton or Gobert.
I think a sneaky top 10 one, just depending on how you rate guys like Gobert or Ayton or Vucevic or Claxton, depending on where you look at it. When this guy is really on his shit and actually healthy and ready to go, Robert Williams is pretty fucking good too. So
yeah, I think a healthy Robert Williams would be in the top 10. He's just never healthy.
He's never healthy. So he'd definitely be an honorable mention for me. But
I mean, who would you have
healthy? I would have Robert Williams. I'd probably have Robert Williams over Gobert. Honestly, I'd rather have Robert Williams than Gobert. Like prime, like ready to go, healthy Robert Williams. Yeah, he's really fucking good. Like like him more than Gobert. That also has to do with Gobert just being in a really shitty situation.
I mean, prime Robert Williams is still like 9 points, 9 rebounds, like 2 blocks.
But the defense,
His defense
though,
is amazing.
yeah,
But it's not like prime Robert Williams is like 14 and 14. Like he's
I
he's
agree.
Also like 6'8". Like I feel like Jokic. If you got Jokic and Embiid against Robert Williams, I think they'd bully him. I think he's just too small.
Well, I think the thing with Rob Will too is he can go out on the perimeter too, to where a lot of these guys just can't. That's one of the things with Claxton too, is Claxton's a lot quicker than a lot of these guys. So where if you have a a pick set and he's got to switch over to someone, Claxton can help you out a little bit. On the
That's why I kind of like Williams more than Gobert, is because of the switching ability. That's Gobert can't do that. So
no. That's
but
Gobert's definitely a fit guy, and with the fit, obviously is just terrible.
Very shit.
Yeah, I'll run through this one again real quick. So my top 10 centers in the NBA goes as follows. At number 10, I have DeAndre Ayton. 9, Rudy Gobert. 8, Nick Claxton. 7, Miles Turner. 6, Brooke Lopez. 5, Cat. 4, KP. 3, Bam Adebayo. 2, Embiid, and 1, the Joker. All right, Buzzsaw, you got your top 10 prime list.
Do we have anything else? Do we have anything else after this?
I have one fun question that'll probably last 2
minutes. All right, let's do the fun question. I want to save this.
Okay,
so that's fine. I'm gonna stay on like 10 more minutes, but okay, I want to spin, because I think my list, I think we could talk about it for 45.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go to the fun question. All right, so I feel like I always like doing humans versus animals in these.
Oh, we're doing another fight?
Another fight. This one's a fight to the death.
Yes.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You have 5 prime, juiced up, ready to go Brock Lesnar's versus a tiger. Who wins the fight to death? And the Brock Lesnar's, keep in mind too, they're not just like normal human Brock Lesnar's. These Brock Lesnar's are like rabies infested, like animal.
UFC champion Brock Lesnar.
Yes, like fight or flight mindset. They're trying to kill. Who's winning, the 5 Lesnar's or the tiger?
You want to go first, Bez? You want me to go? I got to answer this one.
Brock Lesnar's.
You think the 5 Lesnar's?
They outweigh the tiger by combined. They outweigh the tiger by 1,000 pounds. Because the tiger is what, 500 pounds? 400
500 pounds. Lesnar's 250, 260.
Yeah. So I mean, you would just have a weight advantage. I mean, it's like a pack of lions taking down a water buffalo.
Here's my question: is the tiger cornered? Or are you just in the fucking jungle with 5 Brock Lesnar's and you don't know where the tiger is?
You're in an open field. You're in an open, just big plot of grass.
Open field, so just a huge plot of land with one fucking tiger.
Plot of land. Yep.
Well,
they're not.
This depends on the Brock Lesnar strategy. If you go,
that's what I'm thinking.
If you go backs to back and you're in a circle, you're going to stay together. Obviously, if you spread out, the tiger is going to rip you apart.
Yeah, and so they're all the same Lesnar, so they can coordinate in their mind.
They have a hive mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Mega Man.
Yeah. So they're it's like a pack of coyotes. It's like they all know their role, how they need to attack. 1 or 2 of the Lesnar's is going to get killed for sure. But you would hope that.
I think that's too many Lesnar's.
You think 5 Lesnar's too many?
I think they'd overpower.
What do you think? What do you think's the threshold is 3?
3 makes it spicy.
An even match.
Yeah,
3's even.
3.
So you are taking 5 Lesnar's though.
I'm taking 5.
But if they're in the jungle and it's just 5 Lesnar's, but you have no idea where the tiger is, I'm taking the tiger.
Oh yeah, because then that's on the tiger's home court.
They roar silently. You don't hear them roar. They roar silently.
Do they have does the Lesnar's have any weapons? Brass knuckles?
No, just fists.
No.
They just have
exactly.
their fists. Yeah, just like UFC, ready to go Lesnar's. No weapons, no knives.
And it's a fight to the death. The tiger's going to just keep coming and coming and coming.
Yep.
They could squeeze the tiger hard enough.
Why do they kill the tiger?
Choke it.
That's the question. I mean, that's but even Lesnar, even if Lesnar, if to get around the neck, because only one Lesnar could fit around the neck of a tiger. You couldn't have 2 or 3 all choking it.
You could have 3 of them pinning him down and 2 of them just fucking hammering. I mean, you'd eventually fucking bust its skull.
But would you think that? I feel like the tiger's strength though could overtake a few Lesnar's holding it down. Or think about the speed. The speed of the tiger. So the tiger, I think, is darting at one of them immediately, and that one's probably dead in a very quickly. But then the other 4 are going to migrate, obviously, to the lion and use all of their grapple skills on the tiger. And so then
I think the threshold's 4.
I think after
now.
the one because the one of them's taking a bullet. Like one of them's gonna die for sure.
Well, I think
it depends on how the other
5 of
4
them have to go.
strategize to take it down.
All 5 of them have to go back to back, like in a circle, because it's going to come out of because it's in an open field, so it's going to come out of the grass and attack. So you have to be in an open circle. It hits one, the other 4 immediately jump on it. I think 3 could overpower it, and then you have one just fucking laying wood on him and one
What's the
dead.
Strength of a tiger.
I think the threshold may need to be 4 because the one guy's going to get taken out. Somebody's going to have to be the first one on the scene after the first guy's already fucking dead.
I don't know if one gets taken out, though, because let's say it jumps at the group and they're all huddled up. Yes, it'll more go on one, but as soon as the other 4 like descend on it, it's not going to keep it's not going to be able to like bite down on that one guy's neck and let the other 4 just like.
If they line up in the I formation, that tiger.
So yeah, this says a tiger is strong as at least 5 adult humans. So obviously, one Lesnar, is like 3, like 3 or 4.
Yeah, one Lesnar's like 3 adults.
But the tiger's definitely going to use its speed and agility in this scenario.
Yeah, but
obviously,
if the Lesnars are smart though, they won't let each other get picked off one by one. Like if you stay in a solid group,
they're going to pack mentality.
Yeah, but they have to stay like even if they're like 5 feet apart from each other, the lion can or the tiger can come in, boom, one gone.
And my thing though is like even if like one gets mauled in the full, like let's say a few of them are on the tiger. Well, the thing though, Lesnar too also. He knows every lock out there, grapple moves, and all that. What has grappling be able to? Even a few of them, would a few of their grapplings though be able to hold the tiger down to where the others can get shots off?
Well, you know what? They could break a tiger's arm.
Yeah, and then at that point it's done.
You have 4 of them on him, and one of them just starts.
That's how they would have to do it. They would have to break a leg or an arm of the tiger.
Because you start breaking limbs, and then the tiger can't run at you.
Yeah, that's how they would have to do it that way. Because I don't think they could just hold it down and then just punch the tiger.
Just like Lesnar, just a bunch of Brock Lesnar front knee kicks.
Yeah, I agree with that, Luke. I think they gotta break a limb. They break a limb of the tiger, and then the tiger cannot use its speed and agility to maneuver.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it's Lesnar
or they
takeover.
blind the tiger and they can't see it. I don't know. Somehow.
Go for the eyes.
Yeah, just go for the eyes. Just little finger.
Well, because the tiger has like the claws too, to where even if they like have his neck or whatever, the tiger's gonna just claw the absolute shit on. That's gonna make him probably let go. You know.
I think you're losing.
It's like touching a a hot skillet. With that tiger claw, like you're backing off, even if you are a possessed Lesnar.
Yeah, I think you're losing 2 for sure.
But I think I would go with the Lesnars, the 5 Lesnars. I
think that's too many.
I think
it's just not human.
I think 4 is the threshold. I think 3 the tiger wins.
I think 3 the tiger wins too. Now I think if it's just an average human, I think you need like probably 8. I think you need more than 8. Because I think Lesnar is I think Lesnar's like the ideal person to take on a tiger.
The ideal opponent.
Yeah, like if you're picking a human, like one of the biggest heavyweights out there in the world, like one of the most dominant ever. But
actually, if you give me 3, no, I was gonna say 3 John Jones.
I just don't think. I don't know if John Jones has. I don't know if they have the strength. Lesnar weighs 290.
Because Brock Lesnar's only like 6'3", 6'4".
He's 6'3", 290.
Oh my fuck!
Just pure muscle.
John Jones is 6'7". John Jones probably walks around at 260.
John Jones could choke it out. John Jones could choke the tiger out. It's got long enough arms.
John Jones is 6'4", 250.
But he's got fucking crazy
I'd
long
probably
legs.
rather have Lesnar than Jones, though, just because of that extra 40 pounds he has on.
I think you need 6 John Joneses, but it would only take 1 John Jones to choke out. Actually, take 2 John Jones to choke out the tiger.
But I don't know how 2 would choke it at the same time.
One with the leg, double legs.
I agree with what Luke said. I think you gotta break a bone you gotta break a leg or an arm. You do that, and the The tiger
Like
was
its head?
immobilized. He can't run and maneuver.
If you take out its limb, then it can't like run at you, and then you can just
Then you just maul it to
tee
death.
off on till it's game over.
Yeah. All right, ladies. Well, that's a good one to wrap it up on.
Good work.
That'd be fucked.
All right. Well, that's episode 25 of Punch to the Air. Thank y'all for listening. If you did, all 12 subscribers. All right.
Fuck yeah. We love all y'all.
You.
Talk to y'all later.
All right. See you, boys.
Bye-bye.